And I think as I hear from you, I think it's an architect needs to develop some kind of a skill, which is beyond technology, right? How to convince the others to say, let's get into an agile, uh, anti-fragile way of thinking if we have to get there. Uh, Looks like that's one of the needs. I don't have an answer, but I think that's one of the things which an architect needs to pick up that skill or that competency. Nirosh, you had
Yeah, where
some.
do I draw the line saying, hey, this is my ideal solution, this is how it is going to work, these are the boundaries for it, and if something goes wrong, this is my solution to it, and this is how it should be approached, rather than trying to address everything on a single plane, which is what traditionally we are used to doing.
Used to doing, yeah.
Yes, Kumaran, as you said, it is a challenge when it comes to convincing the next level or the next paradigm of a solution. So you're talking about a story or a building which is capable of holding 40 stories. The foundation is ready to hold 40 stories on top of that foundation. But you're talking about one small story on that 40th story, which need to rebuild the foundation and build the whole building again. So that's the kind of change that we're talking about when you talk about anti-fragility. So that small step look like a small step, but it's actually a different paradigm altogether. So when it comes to convincing business to take that one step and then decide to invest on a whole new system to give that anti-fragility, is a very daunting task. It's a very difficult task to do. So yes, as you said, we need to find a way to convince business, because when it comes to say building or construction industry, it's the industry is so old and it's mature so that people are educated. But when it comes to software industry, this service industry is about 20 years old. So it's so young, so that still people are learning it. So that
We are a teenage brat.
people,
Teenage brats.
yes.
That's what this industry. Yeah, but that's an interesting point, right? It's like a basic paradigm shift itself. Even though it looks like it's one thing small, it's actually changing the foundation itself. And it's, yeah.
No, I believe at some place the architects are at fault. They created this whole environment of, we will give you the perfect system and it will work all the time and it will never fail. So we have, I include myself, not being a software architect, but we have set up that expectation in terms of businesses also. Means now we are just saying we have to undo our mistakes, because we set up this expectation with business and said, oh, these systems will always work. They will never fail. I don't care
Deepak,
whether it is a
now that you're
monolith.
telling this, sorry to interrupt. I just can't help commenting. Okay, should we call this Confessions of Architects? Part one, part two.
Absolutely. I believe this is, if I don't think business requires as much convincing as much as architect needs to change their mindset. All of you have expressed that this is, if once architects believe it, I think businesses already know it instinctively. When we talk about examples which we are giving from nature, from how human behavior works, people instinctively know how this thing is. Now, only the question is, how do you make sure that you allow, because you see, anti-fragility is also based on allowing small amount of mistakes in the system, right? So if I have to give advice to software architects, I'm saying, how does your system handle small mistakes, right? Because big mistakes, obviously the system will fail, and then your concept of how can we recover from a big mistake comes in. So how does your system react to small mistakes, right? And does the small mistake actually bring the system down, or the small mistakes actually make the system stronger, right? And that is where your newer technologies like AI-based stuff, where how the system evolves itself to start reacting to small accidents, let's say, like small mistakes or small errors. How does the system learn from those small errors? And although that individual transaction may fail, but overall the system improves, right? This is what nature does, right? So if you see evolution, right? So evolution, the individuals, see, people who do not evolve, they will die, right? But the next generation improves, right? So that is how the system should, means that is how the anti-fragile system should behave. That it is not all about making perfect systems. It is all about how does the system keep on learning and evolving, and the smaller mistakes, how they are used to bring in better results for
What
the
should we
next
actually?
transaction.
So in a way, just kind of twisting or substituting a word with mistake, right? Is your question more on the lines of architects? How comfortable are you with small failures happening in
Failures.
the system?
Yeah, yeah, mistake or a failure. I mean, any failure. How to mean instead of so one of the systems which one of the ways nature sort of means, you take your example of immunization, right? Immunization is a typical example of overcompensation, right? Your body does not need to, because you're giving only small amount of infection. Your body can react to it and actually destroy that infection. But the way immunization works is your body overreacts to that small infection and then it builds its immunity, right? So that is one way we can learn from nature, that this is actually what overcompensation actually is, a concept which you need to think of. That can you, if something bad happens, can you overcompensate and say no such transaction will automatically get failure next time? One time we fail, twice we fail, we learn from it, we modify the system, uh, either manually or automatically, whatever way you want to think about it. But then the system actually keeps evolving, and so you're right. Failures, how do we react to failures? If your system is very bad at handling failures, obviously it is a fragile system. So if your system is good at handling failures, at least, and evolving from those failures, that is your stepping towards anti-fragility.
Deepak, I mean, like one of the advantages, like for others, right? When we work in Microsoft, one big advantage we have compared to other orgs, right, is we are exposed to many customers in a very short period of time. In 10 years, I had chance to work with 100 customers, delivering hands-on stuff, right?
Right.
Really making things happen, because it's, and usually when we get engaged, it'll be a big problem. Small problems, they don't call us because we are
Right.
expensive. Okay.
Right.
So, Deepak, how many customers would you have worked? Like what, it's 12 years now with Microsoft?
13 years, yeah. So yeah, so probably hundreds of customers. Means if I just go and check my logs and see how many customers actually I have listed in there. So
So in
hundreds of.
this, if you recall, can you, I'm sure there'll be one or two where some customer had a very interesting way of being anti-fragile. He wouldn't know the word anti-fragile, okay, but he would be the kind of the, "Arey hone do yaar, dekh lenge." Like kuch, there's nothing
So
big
I'll
gonna
give you an
happen.
example. I'll
Okay.
give you an example. So this is a, so I will not name the